Have you ever wondered why, despite all your plans, all your dreams, and all your lists of things you want to accomplish, you still feel stuck in the same place? Why the years pass, yet deep down, you feel you are circling the same mountain, never reaching the peak? I want to tell you something that may sound uncomfortable. It's not your circumstances holding you back. It's not your lack of opportunity or even your lack of talent. It is the small, silent choices you make every day, the ones nobody sees, the ones you don't even notice, that quietly build the walls of the life you live in. And here's the truth. Your destiny isn't shaped by the grand decisions you think about for months. It's shaped by the subtle, almost invisible decisions you repeat in private. Think about this. When Plato wrote about the soul, he described it as a charioteer trying to control two horses, one wild, unruly, driven by impulse and appetite, the other noble, disciplined, striving toward truth. Most of us think we're the charioteer, holding the reins, guiding our lives. But if you look closely, you'll realize how often you're dragged by the wild horse of habit, the pull of comfort, the whisper of distraction. You tell yourself you'll wake up early, but you don't. You promise yourself you'll work on your dream project, but you scroll instead. You intend to love deeply, but you speak with impatience or worse, with silence. These moments don't feel monumental, but multiplied over years, they become the architecture of your life. Nietzsche once wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe." What he meant is that without vigilance, you become absorbed by the mediocrity of the crowd, sleepwalking through your days, choosing comfort over growth, distraction over depth, approval over authenticity. And here is where it gets even darker. The world rewards this sleepwalking. It is easier to be entertained than to be transformed. It is easier to be comfortable than to be courageous. And because of that, most people will live quiet lives of repetition, never questioning why they are deeply dissatisfied. I want you to imagine two versions of yourself, 5 years from now. In one version, you continue exactly as you are. You wake up, you go to work, you come home tired, you distract yourself with noise, you repeat. Your dreams remain dreams. Your energy is dulled. Your relationships are shallow. You age not with wisdom, but with weariness. In the other version, you make one small but profound choice every single day. You turn off the noise for an hour. You pick up a book instead of a screen. You speak a word of love instead of irritation. You practice discipline even when no one is watching. One life is built on convenience, the other on intention. And intention, though invisible, becomes destiny. Let me tell you a story. In 1943, Dietrich Bonhoeffer sat in a Nazi prison, knowing his life was in danger. He wrote letters that would later inspire millions. In one of them, he reflected on the nature of responsibility, saying that true freedom is not found in following impulse, but in binding oneself to purpose. Now think about that. He was literally imprisoned, yet he described freedom as discipline, as responsibility, as self-mastery. Meanwhile, many of us live outside prison walls but are enslaved to our own appetites, addicted to approval, pleasure, or distraction. So I ask you, who is truly free? Here is the uncomfortable truth. You already know what you need to do. You don't need another book, another podcast, or another video to tell you. You already feel it. The hesitation, the guilt, the longing. That is your soul whispering that you are betraying yourself. And if you ignore that whisper long enough, it fades. You stop hearing it. That is how people die long before their body does. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that fortune favors the bold, that life bends toward those who seize it. But what is boldness in our time? It is not storming castles. It is not conquering lands. Today, boldness is refusing to drown in the flood of distraction. Boldness is choosing silence when the world screams. Boldness is saying no when everything tempts you to say yes. Let me give you an image. Imagine you are holding a jar. Every day you place a single stone in it. Some days the stone is heavy, representing a choice of discipline, growth, or love. Other days the stone is light, representing comfort, laziness, or neglect. The jar doesn't look full at first, but over years it becomes heavy, and one day you wake up and realize this jar is your life. It contains everything you are. The question is, what stones are you placing today? Here's another uncomfortable twist. You may think you have endless time to figure this out. You don't. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Every day you postpone, every day you wait for the right moment, is a day you will never get back. You are not waiting for the right time. You are wasting the only time you have. And someday the clock will strike its final hour." Death is not a far-off event. It is always near, watching, reminding us of urgency. And strangely, it is death that teaches us how to live. Now let's bring this back to you. I want you to ask yourself, what have I been postponing? Not tomorrow, not in the future, right now. Is it a conversation you've been avoiding? A discipline you've been neglecting? A dream you've been too afraid to pursue? What if you chose differently today? What if you stopped treating your life like a rehearsal and instead lived as if this moment was the performance? Because it is. Think of Sisyphus, condemned by the gods to push a boulder up a hill for eternity. Many interpret this as punishment. But Albert Camus, the modern philosopher, said we must imagine Sisyphus happy. Why? Because the meaning of life is not in escaping struggle, but in embracing it, transforming it into strength. Your life too will always have struggle, but the question is, will you resist it or will you rise with it? So here is my challenge to you. Choose one thing today that your future self will thank you for, not 10 things, not a grand plan. One thing, maybe it's writing a single page. Maybe it's speaking with kindness when you feel irritation. Maybe it's spending 1 hour creating instead of consuming. Do that, and tomorrow do it again, and again and again. Because greatness is not a leap, it is the compounding of invisible choices. When you leave this video, you will face two paths. One leads to the comfort of forgetting these words, slipping back into the rhythm of distraction. The other leads to discomfort, but also to growth, discipline, and meaning. Which path will you take? And let me leave you with this thought. Life is always asking you a question. With every decision, every hesitation, every act of courage or of cowardice, you are answering. The question is simple. Are you becoming who you were meant to be, or are you betraying yourself one small choice at a time? The answer is written in the life you live when no one is watching. Choose wisely.